Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Odd Topic Podcast. I'm Brett Beckman, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Luke Hawkins.
What's going on?
Our topic for today is hidden treasures. So we're going to cover both sides of the treasure areas. Basically purposeful hidden treasures, which have kind of been set aside and left to be found later, versus mistaken treasures, as in things that are more about the myth and the kind of history behind it than the actual goods themselves. I don't know. I
Legend.
Yeah, I love me a good treasure story, man.
I love treasure stories, dude. It's like, imagine what the hell's really still out there.
I know.
I was thinking actually when I was doing a bit of research for this topic. Okay, this isn't one of mine that I've chosen, but all the pirate treasure that you used to see in like cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is true. How much treasure there could still actually be out there. Like Blackbeard's treasure, whatever the hell they have.
That's a good point. I mean, like, think about the amount of like sunken ships.
Oh,
Those dudes had to have some goods on board. Like,
100%.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty out there.
Whenever you think of treasure, you think of like pirate treasure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that just me? Like
The treasure and
there's
treasure
there's a
map.
proper old school like chest made out of wood with rusted iron on the sides, full of gold and pearl necklaces.
And for some reason, like half the ones, like the gold's flowing over the side.
flowing
Like,
over.
contain your shit, man.
In real life, all this stuff's probably all corroded and
Yeah.
not worth anything.
But still, I mean, you're right. Like, pirates and hidden treasure and X marks the spot on like some vacant little island with like sand and one palm tree is kind of like the go-to thing.
Yeah. Smell the salt in the air,
Yeah.
the wind in your hair. That rhymed unintentionally. It's, yeah.
Oh man, but I mean, if you think about it, you got, I mean, all the things that we grew up with, movie-wise and all that, like Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider and all that kind of stuff.
Treasure Planet. It's a bit on the nose. But
I was about to say it's a bit kind of, but yeah, exactly. I mean, we kind of grew up with all these stories and all these characters to kind of look at and go around with.
am I right that Treasure Planet was like a sci-fi version of Treasure Island? I don't know if you know.
Now that you say that, it's possible.
I think it was, man. What's the guy's name? I'm sure his surname's actually Hawkins. Which is
No
really
way.
funny because that's my surname,
Dude.
for those that don't know. Long John Silver, Jim Hawkins. That's
Jim
the
Hawkins.
one. And that's the same as Treasure Planet. Yeah, adaptations. Treasure Planet. And then a bunch of other Muppet Treasure Island. You Muppet.
Can't say I watched that one. But yeah, actually, speaking about that, I mean, Treasure Island, I kind of watched fairly recently. And actually, the first time I watched it, kind of get hated on for not watching it. And I watched it and I kind of realized, like, I mean, it does appeal to the more kind of child at heart.
Yeah, of course.
Everything is super like sword fights and
Swashbuckling.
Yeah, swashbuckling and Lost at Sea and all that kind of stuff. It appeals to that side of things.
Speaking of Lost at Sea, this is maybe a little bit off topic, but I just watched a show on Netflix called Japan Sinks 2020.
Ooh, I've heard of it.
It's an anime for those that like anime. I might have given it a watch already. I quite enjoyed it. It was really good. It was kind of creepy and a little bit gory.
Has
But
Japanese anime sometimes.
yeah, I suppose. I mean, the general premise is, well, it's in the name, the Japan sinks. So there's a whole bunch of environmental crises, crisis high, whatever. Like Mount Fuji erupts, etc. And it's about this family and how they survive. And it's really, really good. And the kids end up getting lost at sea, hence my thought. And there's probably about my favorite episode, actually, where the two kids are on this lifeboat out at sea. And there's like all this like sea life and jellyfish and all very Life of Pi-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it was quite cool. Give it a watch if you haven't already. It was quite a good show.
Netflix bring out the good things.
Yeah.
I mean, researching all these kind of topics that we were speaking about and trying to find a story worth kind of talking about and all that. I mean, there's lots of random treasure stories, but they kind of are all very like simple in a way. Kind of this kind of king or whatever left this I don't know what you want to call it, amulet or whatever, and kind of go find it.
Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, exactly. So trying to find something that's like a little bit more interesting as well as something real. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing about it is there's lots of myths out there, but what about the real things?
I mean, yeah, this is quite different to our topic last time where it was quite a lot of speculation and theories. This stuff is pretty grounded. It's I mean, this stuff is there.
Yeah.
It's like facts.
Well, my thing was found.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine is
about
still...
a month ago.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm super interested. Mine is yet to be found.
Yeah. Or will ever be found. Who knows? But yeah, I think let's get on to it. And yeah, let's hear these stories. Luke, I don't know if you want to take it away.
I shall do that. So my topic for today is the lost treasure of D.B. Cooper.
Ooh.
All right, so a lot of you guys probably know about D.B. Cooper. Really cool dude.
Like the
my hero.
Yeah, the hero of many children.
And yours too. So you might have seen him feature in a couple of movies and stuff. He's quite in pop culture at the moment. Well, not at the moment. I'd say he's been in for a couple of years.
But I mean, he still holds that like in our hearts.
Oh yeah. D.B. Cooper.
D.B.
Man.
Cooper.
And that's a really cool surname. Like Cooper. Yeah. Coop. Anyway, so it was Thanksgiving, which is not a holiday we get in South Africa,
Nope.
but it's on the 24th of November, and it was 1971. A man who identified himself as Dan Cooper bought a plane ticket from Portland to Seattle. It was a one-way ticket, and he paid with cash.
Ooh.
It's quite a short flight, apparently. It's only 30 minutes. And according to witness accounts, he was a very quiet, middle-aged man, dressed in a business suit, clip-on tie.
You can't really draw
classic.
much attention to yourself. I guess it's got to kind of be, business casual.
An interesting thing about the tie, though, I mean, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here, but it had a tie clip on, which was made out of titanium, which at the time was really rare. So they speculated that he worked in some kind of metal industry or someplace, and he was like a engineering manager of some sort. The flight was quite empty; it was about only a third full. He got on board and ordered a drink, a bourbon and soda, before the flight took off. Once in the air, he called over the nearest flight attendant, one Miss Florence Schaffner. He handed her a note, and it's quite funny because she mistook it as him giving her his number and thought that he was flirting with him.
I mean, who wouldn't think that?
And just kind of passed it off as this creepy old man, slipped it in her purse, And it must have been quite an awkward exchange, but he basically leaned over to her again and said, no, you want to give the note a read. I've got a bomb.
It's kind of crazy. Like D.B. Cooper's whole crazy story.
Yeah.
Like the start of it failed.
Yeah. I mean, he pulled this. He was a suave mother trucker by the sounds of it, and chick was like, "Ew, he's hitting on me. Get away from me."
Step one failed.
But anyway, so he tells her, "No, look, read the letter. There's a bomb." So she reads the letter. And the note allegedly said that there's a bomb in his suitcase. And he then gave her a glimpse of what's in the suitcase or the briefcase. And it was some proper Acme Wile E. Coyote TNT shit.
Oh, yeah, like the classic kind
Classic red cylinders, TNT blocks with some wires and a battery, And then he told her that he demands $200,000 for parachutes, 2 of them being reserve parachutes. I'm not too sure why. And a fuel truck to refuel the plane when they land in Seattle.
I think he tried to confuse the people as much as he could. Like, I want 4 parachutes.
Just in case I'm bringing some of you all with me,
Yeah.
So Schaffner went to go tell the pilots about his demands. And when she returned, Cooper was wearing his signature dark glasses.
Ooh.
Some proper CSI Miami shades,
Yeah, well, I've seen like sketches of him, and it's like, it's super...
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
He has a weird face, but apparently it's pretty close to what they expect him to look like.
Oh, hectic.
And actually, because, spoiler, he could still be alive to this day, they've done that sort of...
like they age him.
Yeah, they aged him for what he looks like, which is quite cool. Looks a bit like my grandpa. Claiming it.
You heard it here first, chaps.
I'm lying. I don't have any grandpas. They're all dead.
You heard it here second. D.B. Cooper's dead.
Anyway, so the FBI, the pilot contacted the control center, who contacted the FBI.
Yeah.
And they agreed to his demands. And basically, they asked the plane to fly around in circles to give them some time to gather all the resources. While this was happening, apparently the flight attendant noted that D.B. Cooper seemed to know quite a bit about the surrounding area. So he seemed quite well versed in geography, shall we say.
Like he studied this.
Yeah, he definitely had a proper plan in place, yeah. Anyway, so the plane was circling under the guise of minor mechanical difficulties, so the rest of the crew didn't freak out.
I would still freak out about that.
Yeah.
Minor technical difficulty. How minor? Tell
in the plane
me.
or on the ground? Hopefully on the ground. Anyway, so it's now past sunset. It's getting quite dark. The FBI had all of his demands, so the plane lands. Cooper instructed the pilot to, it's called to taxi the plane.
Yeah. So from the like kind of terminal where everyone gets in, like using the wheels to...
Okay.
Like, so you're actually driving the plane.
Yeah. Okay. So he told them to taxi the plane to a very well-lit part of the airport or the runway, I suppose, and close all the blinds, presumably to avoid sniper detection.
Fair enough.
Wise
man.
Yeah, military experience, or is it just kind of common knowledge? I don't know. I don't know if I would have
common
thought ahead
knowledge,
to be
don't want to be shot by a sniper.
Yeah, look, there could be snipers. We've got to avoid them snipers. Anyway, so he then gets the airport's manager, not the FBI guy, to deliver the duffel bags or the bags with cash and parachutes to the plane. Once he gets them, he tells the passengers and some of the crew that they can get off the plane, and they all basically run away. So it was him and I think 5 other people, or 5 including himself, left on the plane. Obviously the pilot, probably the co-pilot, and some of the sort of upper service staff.
Serve him some drinks.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was him, I'd want a couple of drinks. By the sounds of it. While the plane was refueling, Cooper went over the new flight plan with the pilot and the remaining crew, which involved flying towards Mexico City as slow as possible without stalling the aircraft. He also specified that the plane's landing gear was to remain out the whole time and its wing flaps lowered to 15 degrees. Quite oddly specific.
I can kind of understand that, though, in terms of like, okay, it's under normal circumstances not smart. But I mean, everyone knows, like with DB Cooper's like escape plan of jumping out. You want the plane as slow as possible.
Well, also he wanted the cabin to remain unpressurized, so for like easy getting out. You know, if it's pressurized, you open the door, you get flung out.
You get sucked out. So
it
the
kinda
more
makes
drag
sense.
you can create, and the less kind of.
It sounds like he was trying to recreate one of those army planes where you see all the paratroopers jump out of. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like it could be like an ex-military.
Yeah.
I don't know. So they were also to make another refueling spot in Nevada. That was the plan.
Vegas, baby.
So the plane took off. Again. And sometime during the flight, before even reaching the fuel stop in Nevada, Cooper told everybody on board to move into the cockpit and shut the door. After some time, the crew then noticed a change in cabin pressure and an indication light on the control panel indicating that the stairs at the back of the plane had been opened, came on. And at approximately 8:13 p.m., DB Cooper jumped out of the plane and into the night sky, never to be seen again.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mysterious. So despite 5 planes following the hijacked plane, nobody saw him jump out,
Dang.
nor where he might have landed, which is quite crazy.
So the people following the plane didn't even see him jump out.
But then, so they were also in planes though. So the plane he was in, by the way, was a Boeing 727.
Okay.
Which is, I think, if memory serves, a fairly biggish plane.
Yeah.
It's a proper passenger plane.
Yeah.
You know, it's not I think, a little cool and maneuverable.
Yeah. I always thought he jumped out of like one of those small little, can maybe fit like 12 people in a plane.
That's also kind of like what I envisioned.
Yeah.
With the propellers. And like it seems
exactly,
like
little
school
bush planes.
But no, it's a proper Boeing 727. And so yeah, and I presume the FBI had chartered some planes to kind of follow this other plane in case he caused it to crash, or I don't know, but they weren't close enough apparently. And okay, it was also nighttime now. It was quite dark.
Okay.
And there's no like headlights on planes really.
No.
not that I know of. I mean, I'm not an aviator, man. I don't know. But yeah, so he managed to escape. And so many searches came out for this guy after the fact. Allegedly one of the biggest and the most extensive US searches in history.
Which still came out.
And yeah, empty-handed. They'd never found him.
Yeah.
Or any of the treasure. So, well, with a bit of a caveat to that, which I'll get into. So on to the treasure, which is the most interesting part of this. Actually, that's a lie. That first part was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But pretty interesting part. So when the FBI was gathering the money for DB Cooper, they took photos of the bills that they took from all the different banks.
Okay. Oh, to kind of make sure of the serial numbers and all that.
To keep a record of the serial numbers. So they then gave the list of serial numbers to all the banks and casinos and embassies and anything that handled cash.
Yeah.
To keep their eyes out for the to keep their eyes out for the stolen money. Which after probably a couple of years even didn't turn up anything.
Well,
Eventually the serial numbers were given to the public as well, so everyone could look for the money, for the serial numbers, and they still nothing turned up. To this day, nothing has turned up.
that's ridiculous.
The money is still out there.
Yeah.
But in 1980, allegedly, some young whippersnapper, 8-year-old Brian Ingram, found 3 bags of cash while playing on the riverbank of the Columbian River, which is somewhere near Washington, a couple of kilometers outside of Washington. He discovered 3 bags of money, quite deteriorated and kind of dirty and weathered.
They've been there for a while.
Yeah, still in their sleeves, money sleeves.
Oh, yeah, there's little money. Yeah.
And he obviously took them to the police. He contacted the FBI, ran the serial numbers through the database, whatever they had, and bam, they were DB Cooper's stolen money.
Okay, so a few did come up.
Yes. So the 3 bags was 2 packets of $120 bills each and a third packet of 90, all arranged in the same order as when given to Cooper.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting.
Very interesting.
So it wasn't that much. To date, none of the 9,710 remaining bills have turned up anywhere in the world.
So that was a very small portion.
A very small portion. And the fact that was found out there and none of the other ones have actually turned up, there's a high chance that it's still out there, lost somewhere.
They are.
I don't know the geography of the area well enough to be able to go and look for it myself, but I'm sure numerous people have, and today it failed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if the American search party's gone found it.
Yeah, what chance do we have?
Exactly,
a huge one. But so that's quite interesting. So out there in the wild, there is still some missing DB Cooper money, which I might add is worth way more than the paper value of it now, because the name alone of DB Cooper's money. So this Brian Ingram guy, apparently with his share of the money that he got to keep, the rest had to get given to the some other insurance company. But the portion that he got to keep, he then later sold some of it for an astronomically high amount. I think it was like one bill sold for $37,000.
Damn.
Well,
I mean, hey.
Sorry, 15 of his bills he sold for $37,000.
That's still not a bad.
That's a huge amount.
What is the biggest denomination? They're probably like $20.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. The fact that they released those serial numbers means there's a guaranteed check on the money you have is DB Cooper's money.
Yeah.
Like, that holds way more of a value than any dollar bill, even as messed up that those bills probably were.
I mean, DB Cooper's money.
DB Cooper's money.
Imagine having a claim of DB Cooper's money. The name alone is what adds so much value to the treasure. Yeah.
Like, it goes back to what I said earlier. Like, the myth behind the treasure is actually so much more than what the treasure is.
Yeah.
That's
the story of DB Cooper.
Now, obviously there are a few movies that have been kind of based around DB Cooper and all that, and specifically Without a Paddle.
Yeah.
I mean, great movie. And they kind of go after the DB Cooper treasure.
Yeah.
I don't know, that just seems like such a great thing as a kid. I mean, looking at DB Cooper and his treasure and kind of plotting out the full thing. Man. I mean, his whole kind of plan from start to finish, it's documented. We know what he did. All we're missing.
I mean, pretty much every single witness, people in the plane, were there. No one was injured. No one died. Exactly. Nothing. There's from all the people there's a pretty good idea of what he looked like. Pretty good telling of his story. Yeah. I mean, it's all legit.
I mean, the money he stole is from the government. It's not even like he robbed a person individually.
He sounds like a pretty stand-up guy as far as criminals go.
He's like the Robin Hood of escapees, man.
Well, we don't know what he did with the money. By the sounds of it, he just died. But we don't know. But yeah, I mean, he's got I don't know. I'm kind of putting him a bit on a pedestal, maybe. But he's...
Which I think most people do.
Yeah, he's like... It's because he's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's like the thief of the sky, you know?
Someone with like a story like that, I mean, you kind of have to see him differently.
Old Coop.
Like him being so calm and collected and kind of having everything planned out.
It's very unique, you know?
It is.
He wasn't like a terrorist or any
No.
kind of weird buccaneer.
All we know is he could have been an alcoholic. We don't know.
Yeah, but the sounds of it, he liked his bourbon.
Exactly.
Who doesn't? Know what I'm saying?
Know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, somewhere out there, DB Cooper's money sitting, probably covered by a shitload of debris and dead leaves and all. Yeah, debris.
It's waiting to be found one day.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised with modern technology it hasn't turned up.
Yeah, I think it's kind of gotten to the point now where it's not a legit thing.
Yeah.
It's like no one knows where. I mean the radius of where they suspected him to fall. Like,
oh yeah, that's out the window. They were wrong.
Yeah, I mean go back and look at wind and at like what point he pulled the parachute.
Exactly.
It's.
I mean, there's so many variables as to where he could have landed, and I think it was in 2017. After another investigation, they worked out the original thought of where he landed was completely wrong.
So let's go there.
But I suppose it's probably I don't know how long paper money lasts for.
Well, I mean, paper money is pretty much plastic nowadays. It's not really paper anymore.
But in 1970?
Who knows?
Also,
Yeah, okay, that's a valid point.
I mean, the pictures that I've seen of the bills that were found only 9 years later were already messed up.
Yeah.
And that was only 9 years old.
Okay,
it's
but also
been another 40 years.
Yeah. But I mean, as you say, that was found near a river. Who knows what journey those bulls have been through?
Well, one would think, because if they were found there, they must have surely launched a huge search around the area. But if it's by a river and nowhere near where they expected the stuff to be, you know, did it wash down the river?
Yeah.
Did it?
Well, maybe that gives a little bit of like, I don't know, like that assumption that he's still alive. I mean, he got into the river. Maybe he made it to the river. Maybe. You don't know.
But what would he do with the money, and why didn't it turn up?
I don't know.
Maybe he just did it all for shits. He's just just because he could, you know.
He wanted to basically grow old, being not infamous, but like.
I imagine him living his life in the flipping cliffs of Nevada or something now, just chuckling at all these idiots still looking for his treasure while he sits there with it under his bed or something.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you go to the local shop or whatever and try and spend your money, they don't give a shit about what your thing is.
But when that eventually goes to the bank and someone finds it, they'll hopefully trace it back.
But
who knows how many hands it's passed through
exactly.
at that point.
All they kind of want to know is the money back in circulation?
Yeah.
Did DB Cooper die, or is that money around?
Yeah.
Because guaranteed, anyone that Brian sold that money to is not going to spend it.
No.
Like, you buying that to put it in a glass cage or casing.
Show all your other rich friends while you smoke cigars around them. Like, I got DB Cooper's cash, boy. Enjoy, you rich motherfucker.
Oh, man. But those are the stories that give kids hope. Those are the stories that kind of
give us hope.
They give us hope, man. They burn that adventure like flame in us. If only we were kind of capable of going to go seek these treasures, which one day hopefully we can.
Or we'll have our kids live through us, and we'll teach them to go on adventures.
Exactly, live vicariously through that.
That's if we ever have kids. And I'm not sterile.
Let's hope not.
What's your topic, Brett?
So, my topic. So, to start this off, a couple of years ago, I heard about this treasure, and what I loved about it was real. It was real. It was recent. It was what every young kind of kid wants in their life.
You said earlier that it was found already.
It has been found,
That's
and it has been found in I'm pretty sure the past month. It's been found recently. So, what I'm speaking about is Forest Fenn's treasure. So, for those of you who don't know about Forest Fenn,
including myself,
including Luke, Forest Fenn he's basically like our modern day Indiana Jones. Okay, he's 89 now, but I mean he was the modern day Indiana Jones. So
like Indiana Grandy Bones, man. I don't know.
Indiana Bones.
That was lame. I apologize.
That's staying in. So, Forrest Fenn, he was a pilot in the United States Air Force. Basically, right up until he retired, he worked for the Air Force, and he kind of traveled the world with them. And kind of through his travels, he spent his life kind of hunting for rare and cool items and antiquities and all that. Over his time, he kind of kept all those things, and once he retired, he opened up basically a gallery. It was an art gallery. He had kind of works of art. He had pots. He had kind of like face sculptures and all that, but everything was super rare and super
It's like
expensive.
a prop Indiana Jones, this guy.
Dude, like a proper Indiana Jones. So his gallery was pretty much well supported by like the rich and famous. I read somewhere that the most kind of like most visited guest or whatever was actually Steven Spielberg. He loved the place. It was kind of one of those places where you could go and like he kind of encouraged you to pick things up and touch them and kind of get a grip with art. Like he loved, he described himself as never being like an artist, but loved like that interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So some of the more kind of famous and rare things that he had in this gallery was a mummified falcon from King Tut's grave and Sitting Bull's peace pipe.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. So he kind of went around and took these things. No one actually knows how he acquired them, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, and I feel like the American peace pipe thing is something you should be donating back to the culture now.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, who knows? Were you saying the other day something about hearing that was like donated back?
Yeah,
like that?
So I don't know if I was on Reddit or what was I on, but I think it was Reddit. It was one of those next fucking level subreddits. Anyway, and some dude, I doubt it was the guy talking about, some guy donated a peace pipe back to the Native Americans. And yeah, it's like a gesture and a whole anti-colonization kind of thing. I don't know.
Pretty cool gesture, I mean, I respect it. So he has this amazing kind of gallery filled with artifacts and things he's collected over the years. And I mean, hey, this is something I would love to go and see. It's based in Santa Fe in New Mexico and basically brings in almost $6 million a year in profits. So, I mean, this place is...
What are we doing with our lives?
Yeah. Like, okay, firstly, we're not traveling the world stealing artifacts from people, but yeah.
Good point.
It's a cool thing, and I mean, I would love to go see it. So, Forrest Fenn was then, in 1988, diagnosed with kidney cancer. The doctor's kind of prognosis was terminal, and you don't have long to live.
Oof.
So, Forrest kind of thought to himself, okay, what am I going to leave behind? Like, I have to do something. I mean, I basically kind of, it's one of those, if you had a year to live, what would you do?
Yeah.
And he thought to himself, what about a treasure chest? So he wrote a couple books in his life, but the one he wrote kind of over the time of this kind of cancer story was a book called The Thrill of the Chase. Ooh. So yeah, he wrote this book called The Thrill of the Chase, and inside was a poem. And he kind of let it simmer for a little while and didn't quite tell anyone. But then he kind of revealed that the poem led to a secret treasure that he had buried in the Rocky Mountains. So this poem kind of was a 25-line poem and contained nine like clues to where this is. And this is the poem. As I've gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches and new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Put in below, the home of Brown. From there, it is no place for the meek. The end is ever dawning nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze. Just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your efforts will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold.
That was beautiful, man.
Thank you. I feel very touched after that.
Yeah, that was quite good. I wonder what he was saying. I did have a bit of an inside chuckle when it was Whole of Brown.
Of course you did. So in this poem, apparently he said that there were 9 clues in this poem. So it wasn't the whole poem.
Yeah.
The poem kind of led you to it, but there were 9 specific clues in the poem
Yeah.
that were meant to lead you there. No one exactly knows what the 9 are, but they kind of speculated that it was these sections. So the 9 clues are kind of speculated, and this is what people think the 9 clues are. Clue 1, begin at where warm waters halt.
Okay, so that sounds like a end of a hot spring or something?
Yeah, basically like where a river or kind of something would stop and kind of either go back into the earth or dam up or something like that.
Yeah, it could also mean like the joining of 2 oceans or something, like when
That's
maybe
true.
the warmer, what's the warmer ocean? Pacific, I don't know,
Yeah.
meets the cold Indian Ocean.
Well, it is in the Rocky Mountains,
Okay.
but I
Yeah,
guess
that makes a lot more sense then.
so. That's why I'm thinking lake or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
The next clue is take it in the canyon down, which, I mean, obviously, okay, so you're in the mountains and who knows?
Take it in the canyon down.
Take it in the canyon down. The third clue is not far, but too far to walk. So
that means you can probably see it, like the top of a mountain or something. but you
yeah,
can't
so
walk
it's accessible via
Yeah.
some other means other than walking, but you have to walk to get to it, kind of thing. It's weird. Put it in below the home of Brown. I don't know. That a brown bear maybe in a cave.
That actually sounds pretty plausible.
Yeah, I cracked the code. From there, it's no place for the meek. So basically, like, you got to kind of put a bit of effort into it.
Yeah.
There'll be no.
But also, he
paddle
was
up
an
your
old
creek.
man. I mean, how far could he have gone?
Well, that's what they said. They said apparently he did it when he was 80 years old,
Yeah.
and it took him 2 trips to carry all the gold there.
Jeepers.
So yeah, it was quite something. Listen, the treasure chest wasn't big. I mean, they say
Yeah.
it was 10 inches by 10 inches and 5 inches tall. I don't know what that is. in
Gold is
metric.
heavy, man.
Dude, gold is heavy, but small box, heavy gold.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next clue was no paddle up your creek. So
Sounds like you're not going to get there.
you basically like up a waterfall, up something like that. I'm assuming. Just heavy loads and water high. Again, up a river. He mentions water a lot.
Rafters?
Yeah, maybe.
Rapids, whatever.
If you've been wise and found the blaze, so the setting sun could be like the fire in the
Could be.
yeah.
Or maybe there's some scorched earth around the area.
Yeah, true. And remember, this was kind of like around the area of like Yellowstone Park. I mean, that's
Yeah.
all Rocky Mountains.
And that's also hot springs, though.
That is what's hot springs.
I think. I mean, my geography sucks, guys.
Yeah,
You'll learn this over time. My directional skills are terrible, and my geography is terrible. You wouldn't say I did geography in school. Man,
Yeah.
I did, which is even more embarrassing.
And then the last 2 are look quickly down and your quest to cease, and the last one is but tarry scant and marvel gaze with marvel gaze.
No idea what that means.
No. So apparently, and like, okay, all of these things come directly from Forrest, all these assumptions, but the first 2 clues have been cracked.
All right.
And apparently over 65,000 people had attempted to find this treasure.
Jeez.
A few got close, according to Forrest, and those few got the first 2 right.
Mm-hmm.
A group apparently got within 200 feet of the treasure,
Whoa.
but missed it.
If I knew that, I would retrace my steps and just scan the area 200 feet.
Yeah,
away.
exactly. Okay, well, he's not really like, hey, you were 200 feet,
Yeah.
go back there. No. 5 people died in the seeking of this treasure.
But he was 80 and he could do it.
Exactly. A lot of people like fell off the cliffs. They went missing and were just never found again. It's crazy. Apparently, there were a few people who had actually moved to surrounding areas to like pursue the gold kind of on a more permanent basis. Yeah. Like, there's just so much that people have gone through to kind of like go into this. The one thing is that the Rocky Mountains go over 4 states. So you have a lot of kind of area to cover. You got Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. So he said that it definitely, you have to know him. Knowing him is a huge kind of clue to this. So a lot of people kind of speculated, okay, cool, he's from New Mexico, maybe it's there. And they're like, no, that's too obvious. Then they thought maybe Yellowstone, because he apparently used to go camping there when he was younger. Again, too obvious. Plus, Yellowstone is owned by the government. So leaving treasure there makes it government property. Now, who's going to go and do that? Like, who's going to go and put treasure in a place that like isn't rightfully going to be or belong to somebody?
Yeah.
So the treasure that he released, he kind of put a small list of what he was going to put inside of it and stuff like that, just to give guys a bit of incentive. So apparently there was gold coins, there were sapphires, there were ancient Chinese carved jade faces, there were vials of gold dust, they had jewelry and kind of rubies and that, and the one treasure was a turquoise bracelet that he had found in some mountainous area, and apparently it was his most prized possession.
Well, with a crazy collection like he has,
exactly,
this thing's going to be very valuable.
Apparently one of the items inside there was a 17th century ring that was like valued at some crazy amount of money. The whole chest, everyone speculates, is between $1 million to $2 million worth, but no one kind of actually knows. Unfortunately, this guy that's now found it. So, what Forrest Fenn said was, when you find this, send him a photo, and it's up to you whether or not you want to be revealed or not. And this guy has said he doesn't want to be revealed.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to either.
Exactly. What he did do is they released the photo. So the photo is
like winning the lottery. Like, you don't want people to know.
No, exactly. So they've actually put up a photo of this treasure. And I won't lie, it looks like it's been there for a while.
Yeah, it looks a bit rusted to shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's been 10 years. But as far as said, I mean, it's literally where he left it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's kind of still there. But you need to go look at the photo. It's crazy. They've got a really rusted
golden
key.
doubloons.
Yeah.
What is the key for?
I don't know. Maybe it lay next to the box so you could open the box.
Maybe.
But you can see it's been outside. I mean, that key is rusted to hell. Plus
to be honest, the gold coins don't look too bad.
No, they don't.
There's like one with quite a bad rust spot, but the rest are fine.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, the box apparently was made out of brass. So,
okay.
All in all, I mean, I think the thing's kind of stayed fairly well intact.
Yeah.
So, it's just such a crazy kind of story. He did release a little statement when the guy found it. I'm actually on his personal website now. He basically kind of just says, the treasure has been found. It was under a canopy of stars in the lush forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains, and had not moved from the spot where I had hit it 10 years ago. I do not know the person who found it, but the poem of my book led him to the precise spot. I congratulate the thousands of people who participated in the search and hope they will continue to be drawn by the promise of other discoveries. So the search is over. Look for more information and photos in the coming days. F.
Damn.
I mean, what a lot of people say, which is really true.
I wish I knew about this, man. I'd be very keen to get out there and go.
Yeah, and that was actually one of his reasoning. He said he wanted something that got people off the couch. Quite ironic that we're sitting here on chairs talking about this. But yeah, he wanted something that would get people off the couch and kind of to go out there and to explore a little bit. Which is, I mean, great. Also, fantastic that he's still alive and was able to see it. I mean,
that's a feat.
Yeah, 89 years old now, so the terminal cancer was not as terminal as they thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can pretty much die in peace now.
To be diagnosed at 80 years old.
Yeah.
And still survive 9 years.
Exactly.
I mean, you're doing good. I think at this point, at any moment, I kind of want to do that now. I want to leave some cool treasure legacy.
Yeah, but something kind of like this. Not just like a time capsule of random shit.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
Have something of worth. He also kind of left a little autobiography of himself in there, sealed away. I'm assuming just
sounds a bit full of himself, to be honest.
What the hell, man?
He just gave someone to a couple million, but whatever.
So yeah, that is basically the story of Forest Fenn's treasure, and I mean the fact that it's been discovered, and that he was allowed to see it, I think is great.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a bit of very cold. What do you like? What would you do? Like walking in like mountains and like going around and kick a box.
I don't know, man. I definitely would not tell anyone. I would
No,
tell.
hell no. I agree with that.
I would tell probably my dad and my wife, and that is it.
Yeah.
That is literally it.
And hopefully me too.
Well,
I mean, come on.
yeah, no offense, best friend, but come. No, I think I would try and be pretty good. I'd donate some to charity. I'm not going to pretend like I'm altruistic, but I would donate a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's some items there that like belong in museums.
Yeah,
like there's some stuff where.
Oh no, for sure, like that kind of stuff, definitely.
And I think that's
in fact, in a collection like that, if I was well-ish enough off, and I found a collection like that, I don't think I would actually do anything with it. It's such rare items.
Exactly. You know? I mean, it's going back to like D.B. Cooper's treasure. It's got such a big value on it, other than its actual monetary value.
Yeah.
But I think that's why he kind of structured it how he did, purely because, I mean, the gold dust and the gold coins, they're things you can salvage out of it. And he kind of just wanted something where you could pretty much, I don't know, you could strive to go and get it, and if you could find it. And I think he put it in a place that, I mean, an 80-year-old could go and fetch it. Yeah. To not kind of say, well, you know, this is out of, I mean, he's not going to drop it in the bottom of the ocean or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. Like, imagine on your deathbed, kind of thinking, okay, what can I leave the world? Yeah. How about a treasure hunt?
This makes me kind of feel feelings.
I feel stuff.
This makes me kind of think back to life as a kid and all the sort of fun adventure that's out there.
Yeah.
And this kind of makes me relive those feelings. It's like there's still so much out there to explore and all these wonders of the world. Much. Whereas now we're sort of bogged down with stress of our everyday lives, our jobs, if you're still studying your studies, where you're going, and the world's pretty grim place at the moment. Nothing feels fun and happy. And kids these days, all they do is sound like an old man, but kids these days, all they do is sit on iPads and phones and video games. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love a good video game, but
there's still other aspects that
I hope that if and when I ever have a kid, that like I'm gonna put an effort with them just to get them outside, and just to go do some stuff. And
100%.
As a kid, I hated the idea of that. I mean, I was never an outside kid. I was always building Lego. And that stuff was good for my development as well. It got me the career path that I'm on now. But it was like, I'm glad that I was pushed the way I was pushed to actually go out and do stuff. Yeah. And I feel like if you don't, you kind of waste your childhood. You look back on you in your late 20s and you think back, well, fuck, all I did was watch TV.
And like, it's kind of that point where you start living vicariously through your kind of children and relive those things.
And that's probably what every parent feels like. That's probably why they try to push us, because maybe they sat inside all day playing cards or whatever the hell they played, marbles.
I was a little bit more fortunate as a kid. I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere. So them adventures were good, man.
We had nothing else to do.
But yeah, it kind of makes you want to go see the rest of the world. And we spoke earlier kind of briefly about the movie Without a Paddle. And
I want to watch it again. I remember loving it. Yeah.
It's actually on Netflix at the moment, which is kind of why I bring it up again. They have that childhood. I mean, the friends kind of all together as kids.
I remember now. You see them fucking around as kids.
Exactly. They had all like their maps and their D.B. Cooper treasure and all that. And they made kind of like a bet saying when we, or like a, what are you going to call it? That when we...
Pact.
They made a pact that when we grow old, we will go and search for D.B. Cooper's treasure. Yeah. And they never did. The one became a doctor. The other became a weird bum. He didn't actually do anything with his life. And one of the friends passed away. Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers for a 20-year-old movie.
Yeah, which kind of happens in the first 5 minutes of it. And that passing of their friend was like their moment of like, oh shit.
We gotta do this.
We kind of like, we never lived up to that. And it kind of makes them go on this epic adventure where, they have no like experience in like adventurizing life.
Adventurizing. It's my new favorite word.
It's a good word. And I mean, it takes them through the shittest kind of like situations. But I mean, at the end of it,
isn't it the one where they had to like all cuddle like naked because they're so cold? Yeah,
with like this super like music in the background. Old man in like the cabin comes down. I was like, "What y'all doing, homos?" Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a cool thing to think of, and it's a thing to kind of strive for, especially when you reach that point of like kids and getting your kids excited into something.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's been another fun episode of the Odd Topic podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. We thoroughly did.
That was great.
If you enjoyed the episode, give us a little like or subscribe or wherever you're hearing this from.
Show us some love.
Show us some love, man. Spread the love. And we will see you next time.
Bye.